His bucket, the resilience bucket is part full already as a result of that traumatic incident. Now later on in life, maybe they may have problems with sleeping. Maybe at the same time that the alarm went off. Maybe their heart might start racing when they hear an alarm. Maybe. But you can see how it's part-filled the resilience bucket. Now I'm going to give you a live example of somebody who has given permission to share her story, who I delivered havening to. And her story was that in her early 20s, her mother passed away in her arms at 2:30 in the morning. She had children, young children, so angry towards her mum for dying too early, because she didn't get to see and enjoy her children. What happened was that for 20 years, up to the point that I met with her, she had mostly poor night's sleep. She could finally get to sleep about 11:30, and then wake up at 2:30, the time when her mother passed away in her arms. Now the result of that is that that's a big trauma. Okay? Maybe there were lots of little traumas leading up to that. You know, they call them kindling traumas, leading up to this big one. But this was the big one, okay? And the result was that she had problems with sleep. What's the impact of not sleeping particularly well for 20 years? Who knows, on your emotional and physical health, well-being? Yeah? I mean, you know, she's getting definitely 2 to 3 hours good quality sleep, okay? But the rest of it feels like she's awake. Until she's so tired that she has to have a full night's sleep. She can't do it, but that's, that builds up. That's one thing. She had anxiety, and she was worried about her adult children going out in London at night. Excessively worried. She knew it was disproportionate. And she was sad when she thought of her mum. She literally, even 20 years on, would well up with tears. So these are expressions of the fight, flight, freeze that are in action. And when I met with her, we then had, a job to do to help let that go. 2 sessions, and this situation is resolved. 2 sessions of havening. But what I want to say is that when you've got this being filled, there isn't much space left for extra stress, for modern day stress, for all the usual stuff that I mentioned earlier. And the risk is that we actually end up overflowing. Overflowing potentially means serious mental and physical health problems. But mostly what people are doing is they're just getting to the top, filling all this up during the day, they're just getting to the top, and they're just managing to scoop out the stress. Doing whatever they're doing. Maybe they're venting anger, maybe they're road rage, that's a way of venting the outlet, venting the emotion, the stress. Or maybe they're doing meditation, or maybe they're doing running, maybe they're doing positive things that, to let stuff go. But what's actually happening is that it's not really getting rid of this or this, is it? So they're going to continue to have that process day in, day out. Okay, does that make sense? Yeah? And so the issue is that with this going on, we might just get distracted from achieving our aspirations and our goals, desired outcomes. We might just get lost in just get too tired, or just have various coping mechanisms to make us feel better. We might start taking medication, which then may lead to taking other types of medication, etc. And so, addictive, perhaps becoming addictive behaviours, and then there's a lifestyle there. People can end up getting lost in this during the day. And of course, as I say, that with this, really, we're down here. But if we let this go, then maybe, we've got a chance to rise up to this big, and more likely to achieve that big. When we're enduring the trauma, we're setting up the alarm system. Okay? When we're doing havening, we're disarming the alarm system. Okay? That is the objective. And the delta waves bring these calm, reassuring waves, along with hormones, the love hormone, which is called oxytocin, serotonin, which is known as the happy drug. So delta waves are operating at 0.5 to 4 hertz frequency. That means that in 1 second, they've gone 4 beats. Whereas the gamma waves is 100 hertz, 100 cycles in a second. So the slower frequency of delta waves, along with the hormones, goes into the cells and gives a message, a calming message, which is to disarm the alarm system. Now, the AMPA receptors that we talked about earlier, that were on the surface of the cell, with the biological superglue, anchoring them permanently to the surface of the cell, are actually broken down. The biological superglue is broken down. Actually, what happens is when we ask you to think of the trauma emotion, the biological glue is exposed, and we're able to use that window of 7 to 10 minutes while we're havening to break down that biological glue, and these AMPA receptors then come in and become these. They break down into the cell. This is called an AMPA receptor. AMPA.
Oh, AMPA.
A-M-P-A. AMPA. AMPA receptor.
And the glue.
And this is the neuron. This is the surface of the neuron.
That's from the stress that creates that glue. It's from the
Yeah,
stress.
it happens at the time of an encoded trauma. Gamma waves and stress hormones and some other enzymes create the superglue that binds the AMPA receptors to the surface of the cell, which are then there permanently in order for us to survive and to protect ourselves from a similar situation in the future. But with havening, what we're doing is we're exposing the glue and we're breaking it down, and then the AMPA receptors go back into the cell and recycled for future use. And the result is a delinking, what's called a delinking of the emotional part of the memory of the trauma with the kind of, I suppose, practical part of the memory. There is still a memory of the trauma, and that goes into another, neatly filed into another part of the amygdala. But there's no unhelpful emotional responses anymore, which means there's no unhelpful fight, flight, freeze responses.